How you doing, folks? Once again, coming at you with another YouTube video about my favorite top sci-fi creature features. Quite a few old ones rather than new because I'm not really a big fan of new ones. In fact, the new ones kind of suck. But I did not make a list or anything. This is just me going by my thoughts and how I feel about it. And my first choice for sci-fi creature features would have to be The Fly with Jeff Goldblum from 1989, I believe that was, or 88. I believe it was 88. So that'll be my first favorite. The gore, the creature effects, the way we see Jeff Goldblum's transformation just slowly change over time, slowly change from a human being with feelings to a creature. And of course, Gina Davis. It's nice to see her in there. It's always nice to see Gina Davis. So yeah, I love The Fly with Jeff Goldblum. That's my first choice for a sci-fi creature feature. Even the way, even the way it's done, the way I think it was a what do they put in there? They put they put a mouse in there or something. They put a mouse in a sort of capsule, and it disintegrates or something like that. I remember something like that. It's been a while since I watched it, but from what I do remember, I remember liking it a lot. So, and Jeff Goldblum does a good job. Gina Davis does a good job. Again, Gina Davis, Beetlejuice. What's not to love? And she's very attractive. Um, so that'll be my first choice, The Fly. And not much of a fan of the sequel. The sequel was okay, but it wasn't good compared to the first one. Not at all. So, on to number two. Number two would be, I'm going to go, and this is going to be controversial probably, again. Uh, This will probably be filled with controversy, but some water. Number two being Watchers with Corey Haim. Um, yeah, I love this film with Corey Haim, and Corey Haim is so underrated. Lost Boys, License to Drive, completely one of the biggest victims of Hollywood. He was taken advantage of. He was really taken advantage of, big time. And I always kind of felt sorry for him because he's gone too soon. And what we know is that he had a drug addiction, alcohol, whatever you want to call it. He still had an addiction that he was fighting. Sadly, he lost to it. Rest in peace, Corey Haim. You're missed. You're really missed, brother. You're really missed. I just words cannot express how much I loved Corey Haim. Watchers, License to Drive. He deserved more. Lost Boys. He just he was a rising actor in the 80s. And, you know, he had a drug addiction. He did. But I don't really want to get too political here, but I do know. I know that Hollywood likes to silence people, and I know that Corey Haim, we've seen the documentaries with Corey Haim, and you know, obviously there's a lot going on there. So No, I'm not gonna like. I don't want to put anything, and nothing set in stone. But like, it's kind of scary how these people just die off in Hollywood. It's weird, right? The most innocent souls you could ever imagine die off in Hollywood so soon. Why is that? That's weird. But yes, Corey Haim, Watchers. Definitely the first Watchers. It's at the top of the list for me. I love Watchers. I love the creature effect. Well, again, there's not much to the creature effects, but from what we do get, it's fairly good, and it's a good time, and you definitely feel like there's a creature out there in the woods. It's watching people, and it's picking people off one by one, things like that. And there's a government agency, and they're not telling anybody. They're trying to cover it up, like Hollywood. And for number three, I'm gonna go. And again, I did not write a list. This is me completely off the top of my head, completely and 100% off the top of my fucking head. Number three, I'm gonna go. Oh, this is gonna get laughed at. It's gonna get laughed at. It's okay. I accept it. It's gonna get laughed at. I accept it. Hey, I. You accept the things. Watchers 2, Mark Singer, our Beastmaster, who I also love, and I love Watchers 2. In fact, I probably love Watchers 2 more than 1. So that's why I'm putting it on this list, because I love it more than 1. I've always been a big sequel guy. I love the sequels more than the first one, always. Even with Elm Street. With Elm Street, I like Elm Street 2 a little bit more than the first one. I don't know what it was. It was just whether it being the atmosphere or the way Jesse is with his friend. I like how Mark Singer, who we know punched his colonel in the face, so he's a outlaw. He's an outlaw. He was a soldier, but he's also an outlaw. He punched his captain. He punched a colonel in the face, I believe, and so he's being driven to a different center or something like that, and they try to hit a dog. So Mark Singer stops him. He's like, "Hey, dog on the road," and the guy just he wants to hit the fucking dog for some reason, which is weird. And he stops him. So we could see in this movie that Mark Singer is also a caring individual. And while we don't have the best creature effects, it makes up for in storyline with Mark Singer and the dog, man's best friend, things like that. So we could see that he's a decent individual and he doesn't want to harm anybody. He wants to protect his ex-wife. Well, I mean, he kind of endangered her, to be fair, but he did endanger her by going to her house in the first place. But we're not going to go there. It's a different topic, right? But secondly, but yeah, Watchers 2, 100%. So that'd be The Fly with Jeff Goldblum, Watchers with Corey Haim, and Watchers 2 with Mark Singer. Great sci-fi creature features when I was a kid. When I was a kid, sci-fi just blew up. It was bursting with creature violence and madness. Especially around Halloween time. It was very big. Very big. It was like, ooh, I wonder what's going to be on sci-fi tonight. And it was like close to October. Even in the summertime, there were fun things on there. But Halloween definitely had the best moments. But number 4. So yeah, that's 3 so far. Number 4. Let me think. I'm going to think about this a little bit. Number 4. Bah, 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 bah. Rah, rah, rah. Let me think. Now, choices to go. There's so many choices. That's the problem. Is there's so many fucking choices. It was so hard to choose. It's always hard to choose. But I did not write them down. I did not. That's my problem. This is me just going with the flow. But I'm gonna go. Think. Arachnophobia. Great cast. Jeff Daniels in there. We have a great spider, a great looking spider with great effects, a lot of practical effects. Because I do know that real spiders were used for this film, as well as Eight-Legged Freaks with David Arquette. There were real spiders used for the beginning of that film. If you look it up, I did look it up, so I know. And Jeff, Arachnophobia is it's a fun time. But John Goodman and Jeff Daniels are definitely a good pair together in this sci-fi creature feature. Definitely a great finale where we have Jeff Goldblum fighting the spider in the barn, or is it a shed? Was it? It was a shed or a barn. I don't know what the fuck it was. But I do remember that the creature effects were very well done. They were very well made. We do have a practical spider, and what it does have in CGI, yeah, it's there, but it also makes up for it in practical and good characters, good actors, and good atmosphere. So there is that. A great setting in the country like that, and how we see the spiders mating, and it's slowly building up to this big thing. So yeah, Arachnophobia would be number 5 for me. Let's see, it was The Fly, Watchers 2. Yeah, no, that's definitely a big one for me, is Arachnophobia. Let's see. My next one would have to be again, this is me thinking from my own thoughts. I would have made a list, but it'd be a lot to write. Hmm. I'm gonna go 20 Million Miles to Earth, which is a much older film. It's black and white. I'll probably get laughed at for that too. But it is one of my favorite oldies as far as black and white creature features. 20 Million Miles to Earth for me, definitely. It's where this beam, this spaceship sort of crashes to Earth, and these people find it in the water, right? It crashed in the water. They find it there. There's I think like a capsule inside, right? And they find a capsule and there's a creature inside, and this creature um, gets transported to a sort of not a facility, but like like it's transported to a guy and a girl, and they slowly start to see this creature getting bigger and bigger as they keep it in a jar, a capsule, whatever. It's getting bigger and bigger, and it grows and it grows, and even though the effects are kind of silly, I do have a fun time with it, and it's kind of a guilty pleasure. It's a fun time for what's there for the 50s. I'm not even sure that it's the 50s, honestly. Oh shit, look at that. I forgot my phone was there. How incriminating for me to forget that my phone was there. Oh. Um, but yeah, 20 Million Miles to Earth it's a fun sci-fi flick for in black and white. If you like older black and white films, it's perfect. It's a good one. It was 1957. Again, I forgot my phone was there. Sorry. But yeah, that's a good one. Next up, next up. I am going to go. Hmm. Again, thinking. Well, I quickly replied to somebody. Sorry. I'm gonna go Tremors. Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, a classic. Yeah, Tremors for me, definitely, absolutely. In fact, that should be first. But I'm not really going by ranking. But if I did, Tremors would be the first. Then Watchers, then The Fly, then 20 Million Miles to Earth, and then like when Watchers 2 also. Again, there's a lot to keep track of. So definitely those, the ones I mentioned are perfect. They're great sci-fi fun. Next up. But yeah, they know the Tremors, 100%. Fred Ward, Kevin Bacon. What they do in the desert. I love how the beginning is sort of this almost slasher film murder mystery where people are like dead all over town and there's an old man hanging up high on a fucking watchtower or whatever and his face is disintegrated or whatever and there's a head in the sand under a hat and they move the hat and there's his head and there's a couple and they're making out and they get pulled underground. It's just scary the way that it's done. The way it's done was very effective and horrific. 100% Watchers. I mean, Tremors. Sorry. And next up. Bleh, bleh, bleh. Anaconda. Now, why on earth? Because I see Anaconda, you know, I see Anaconda love on Facebook. I do. I see like photos of it, and like this is the 13th anniversary of Anaconda with John Voight and Jennifer Lopez and Ice Cube, and then I look at the comments and it's like people are just making fun of the film, and I'm not sure why they're making fun of the film. Is it because we got? First of all, I wouldn't say it's a goofy looking snake. Is it because we got a practical snake? Because I couldn't think of any CGI. First of all, there was CGI, especially towards the end, but this was mostly a um, this was a this was a practical effect, and it was a this was actually a animatronic snake from what I read. It was an animatronic snake that they used with practical bodysuit, the whole 9 yards. And this film gets disrespected like that, and it's like, maybe just pull your head out of your ass. I don't know about, because I love Anaconda. I love Ice Cube. I love Jennifer Lopez in it. I love John Voight in it. And the fact that we got a practical snake, not practical, but like we got a practical suit slash animatronic snake. So there were no practical effects, but with a it was done not with a real snake or anything, but it was done with a animatronic snake, which is very very impressive the way it was done, and it looked good. I think it looked good. I don't have any problems with the way the snake looked. Of course, we get Owen Wilson in there, who dies off fairly quick. Um, the girl from Eight Legged Freaks, she was in Eight Legged Freaks. She was the sheriff. Um, but yeah, Anaconda's underrated. One could say underappreciated, underloved, very hated or laughed at. I don't know why. I don't get it. But yeah, that's my other choice. I'm not even going by numbers anymore. I forgot where I'm at. um, let's see. Next up, good, good. Abominable. That's right, Abominable from the 90s. A great classic Bigfoot film. Who has the guy from Seinfeld who played Lloyd Braun. Kind of a crazy guy in that. But yeah, Abominable's great. I love Abominable. 2006. Wait, no, not 2000. Sorry, 1996. Yeah, this is a fun one with Matt McCoy. Very fun. Lance Henriksen's in there as a hunter, but we don't really see him a lot, and that's a shame. You got Dee Wallace in there, so we have a good cast of actors and actresses, and we have a great Bigfoot. Like it's one of the greater effects for Bigfoot. If you look at it, this is probably one of the most well done effects for Bigfoot that you'll ever see, that you'll ever get to see. So yeah, for me, The Abominable from 1996. A very effective beginning. Scary, really scary. And at the end, you find out there's more. There's that was fun. I have a fun time with this film. Again, Lloyd Braun from Seinfeld. If you've watched Seinfeld, I've watched a lot of Seinfeld in my life. Not gonna lie. Good actor, and of course he's made to be crazy because he's a crazy guy in a wheelchair or something. Or I mean, it's just one of those movies where you're on the edge of your seat, wondering what the fuck is gonna happen next. There's a doctor pushing him around in a wheelchair because he's crippled. He can't move. He can't do anything. But he's watching this group of teenage girls, not teenage, but like college age, through a pair of binoculars, and he's watching them get picked off one by one. And there's a creature in the woods, and it's watching and it's stalking everybody. And he just looks crazy, but he's really not crazy. He's the smart one. So, and he really is the smart one because he knows what to do and when. So, definitely the Abominable. We have a character we can root for, a character who's smart, and he's not dumb. He's not a victim because he's in a fucking wheelchair. He's a smart guy. So yeah, that's my other choice. These are really all the ones I love, really. I'm gonna go Lake Placid with Bill Pullman and Oliver Platt, who was also in Oliver Platt. He was also in what was that other one where they're bringing dead people back to life? It was Flatliners. That's right, Flatliners. So Oliver Platt was in that. He was in Ready to Rumble with David Arquette. So he was in a number of other films. Um, I do have a lot of fun with Lake Placid, and we got a good practical gator. And again, this is another one that a lot of people kind of make fun of. And of course, we got Betty White at the end, who had some baby gators ready to get our sequels going, which most of the sequels kind of suck ass. Most of the sequels suck ass. Most of them suck ass. They do. Most of them suck ass. That's just the way that it is. I didn't design them. That's the way they are. But yeah, Lake Placid, 100% great film. I love that film. And everyone gives it shit because yeah, we have some CGI, but for what we for what CGI isn't there. We also get some good practical effects with a gator suit, and get Bill Pullman, which it's not his best role. His best role would definitely have to be Independence Day, which can I call Independence Day a creature feature? Can I? I'm just wondering. Like, can I call that? It's a sci-fi film. Yes, it's a sci-fi film, but can I call that a creature feature? Because we get some great creature effects at the end, where they're cutting open the alien, and this alien, there's like a baby or something, and we get a great bodysuit, a great alien suit, really good. And that was like really scary, when I was a kid. The way it breaks out and it's killing the doctors, it's choking one doctor, it's holding his face against the glass, and it's like, release me. Can I call that a creature feature? I don't know. Can I? Because I sort of feel like Independence Day can be called a creature feature. Again, that's just me, but I don't know. It just it could be a creature feature, and it's great to also have Randy Quaid in there. You got a hell of a cast. Randy Quaid. In fact, yeah, that's my last. That's my fucking favorite. Yes, that is a creature feature to me. You got Randy Quaid, Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum, Bill Pullman, a terrific cast, and the guy who's when they go to Area 51 and they're looking at all the alien bodies and the tanks and stuff. That long-haired guy who calls it the Freak Show is Data from Star Trek Next Generations. If you watch Star Trek Next Generations, that is Data. Data with the yellow face. He's sort of an android trying to understand humor, so he laughs at dumb things, or he tries to understand jokes, but he's really bad at it because he's a fucking android. So I get a kick out of that. Independence Day for me. Yes, it's a creature feature. Sue me. We have aliens. Welcome to Earth. Will Smith with his punch to the alien face. No pun intended there. I did not mention G.I. Jane. So, yeah. Um, next up, King Kong. But the King Kong with Jeff Bridges and what's her face? She was in American Horror Story, which Jessica Lange. Yeah, that's right. King Kong from the 1970s. I love that movie. More good effects in there, and it's nice to see Kong. He's in this sort of angry mode, He's very vicious and very angry, but you could tell there's still kind of a heart to this creature, and we see him fight a giant snake at the end, which is awesome. The fight with the giant snake. I wish we could have seen more of that too, more like creature fights, because they went all out. They went all out with these newer films with Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and King Kong, and Kong Skull Island. Oh, I can go on, but I enjoy them. I do enjoy them, but that would be my favorite is King Kong from 1976. Great cast of actors, effective with the sort of the Native American people who want them off their land, and they kind of kidnap Jessica Lange's character, so they got to go after them, and then Kong ends up saving her, kind of, not really. He saves her without the intention of saving her, if that makes any sense. But yeah, Jeff Bridges, great. The other film I like with Jeff Bridges is K-Pax, one on Arlington Road. He's in some good ones. He's in some pretty good ones. The Big Lebowski. So he's done a lot of work in his life. But yeah, I do think I'm gonna call it right now. talking about my favorite sci-fi creature features. You let me know what you think down below about what is your favorite creature features, or something maybe you consider a creature feature that maybe nobody else does, but you kind of do for certain reasons. Again, there's no judgment here, no judgment whatsoever. You comment down below what you think. But yeah, those are my mostly favorites. I could mention more, but I'd be going on and on and on. So they're just ones that kind of flew in my brain at the right moment. So yeah, just let me know what you think.